I felt so guilty and ashamed and embarrassed and worried what others might think, and struggled with the idea, or struggled with, I guess, self-doubt, in the sense that I wasn't sure if this was the right choice, because it was really painful at the same time, because it was something that I had worked for so hard for such a long time. Hello. Oh, I feel already a little bit emotional because this is the last video I'm going to make from this home. We are moving in just 3 days. Today's Wednesday, and on Saturday we're moving. That's it. This flat, this home is no more. And now I feel so relieved, because I've been stressing out so much because we didn't know where we're gonna move. We couldn't find a flat. We couldn't, me and Yuki, my partner, we just couldn't agree on what area, what we wanted. He and I have very different needs. I want to be close to the center where I can go to cafes and to little shops. Not like I don't need to be in the city center, but I'm still like a city girl at heart. Then I like to be in the countryside, but like those are two things that are different. And he wants to be where there's lots of nature, so he can go with his bicycles, and you know, where there are like a garage and like all these things. So it took a long time to find some kind of compromise, but we did find a compromise, and we are moving to a really cool flat on Saturday that I will show you once we get there. But that means that, yeah, this is the last video I'm going to make here. And you know, when you pack your stuff and you put your life in boxes, it makes you think about, or it made me think about, big moments in my life and some of the really hard choices I've done along the way. Oh, I don't know, I got a little bit choked up there. But the hard choice, or hard choice that I'm going to share with you today is something that I haven't maybe spoken about that much. Well, it relates to what I'm doing today, because in just an hour I'm going to the airport and I'm flying to Stockholm. And Stockholm was where this thing started, because that's where I started out on Instagram. I started to share photos. I got the idea and dream of hopefully making that into my career somehow. But, you know, I feel like online we often see people succeeding, or people that we compare ourselves to, or we want to have what they had, and we often don't see the struggles behind that, and maybe the road it took to get there. And I thought I would share some of the struggles I had, and I mean still have, because even though now I'm so fortunate that I have a job that allows me to make money, basically, from many different sources. So I feel like I haven't put all my eggs in one basket. I have lots of, some are smaller and some are bigger baskets. And I am somebody who, unfortunately, I do worry quite a lot. I'm a person who starts to analyze and overthink things and start to worry about things in the future that I can't really control often, so it's kind of unnecessary, and I try to not do that, then, you know, meditate and journal and just be aware of it. But one of the times in my life where I worried a lot was when I had just graduated from university. I did a degree in choreography, and before that in dance. So I was like, my formal education is as a dancer. But then for some reason, when I then graduated, I just felt this shift in me, and I felt like it wasn't really the thing that I maybe wanted to do or pursue as a career, as an actual professional. Because when you're in school, it's very different, and I knew all the time that it would be very different when I would graduate and have to make this career for myself. But I think one of the things that was really a big reason for that was that I did move at that time to Stockholm, and then I moved away from my kind of social network, but all my friends and just this bubble that I had been in. And I don't think that was a bad thing necessarily, looking back in hindsight. But at the time, of course, it was a huge thing, and it was a big struggle. Luckily, my sister lived in Stockholm, and of course, I moved there to be with my then partner, so I wasn't alone. I did have support, but it was just a big change. when I made that decision, kind of spontaneously, that I'm just gonna go to Stockholm now, uproot myself, and kind of start my career. So it was right at that time when I finished school, and then suddenly I switched country. I wasn't in school anymore, and I was supposed to figure out what I wanted to do in life. And it took me by such a surprise, because I was completely confused and lost and didn't really know what I wanted anymore, and didn't feel like the thing that I had studied, which was dance and choreography and performance art, suddenly I didn't feel like that was something I wanted to build a career in. And there are probably many reasons why that happened and why that shift came about, but I had a really hard time accepting that, and I felt so kind of ashamed, but also like really disappointed in myself, because I had worked so hard for that thing for so many years. And then just suddenly I didn't feel like I had the drive and motivation to pursue it anymore. And I wish now that, first of all, I wouldn't have felt so guilty about leaving the dance world behind. I felt so guilty and ashamed and embarrassed and worried what others might think, and struggled with the idea, or struggled with, I guess, self-doubt, in the sense that I wasn't sure if this was the right choice, because it was really painful at the same time, because it was something that I had worked for so hard for such a long time. So then comes Instagram, and then I get this idea that I want to pursue photography and I want to become like a content creator. I never really wanted to become like an influencer in the sense of like going on like glamorous trips and, promoting like, I don't know, products and that, but I did want to, or I did find the idea of being able to make a living just from sharing kind of your way of seeing the world, and like making art in a way, but in a kind of a digital space. I found that super fascinating. But the thing that I wish now I had done was that I would have gotten a regular job, or at least a job that would have paid my bills more. Because at that time I was super reluctant to get a job, because I felt like if I do get a job, that I won't have the time and energy, and I won't be like in this tight spot, that I won't try to build this creative thing as much. But the thing, because I only had a part-time job that like barely covered my bills back in 2016, 2017, and I worried about money so much. It was really something that took me down, and also just feeling like I can't get a coffee if I want to, or I can't really buy anything, and have to be super careful with money. I mean, my parents helped me, like, don't get me wrong, I'm still like in a privileged position, which I totally understand. But yeah, I wish because it's totally possible, like if you were maybe in a situation where you're thinking about, you would maybe like to devote more time to build your thing, but you still have sort of a regular job or a 9-to-5, my recommendation would be to have a bit of a buffer or save some money, so you don't just quit your 9-to-5 and try to build your thing, because it is so stressful if you have to worry about money all the time. And it might also make you make the wrong decisions, in a sense, because you will be pressured by that feeling of like, oh, I have to try to scramble something together. So I wish I would have done that, just made life a little bit easier for myself, and not have to worry and be so like in despair from time to time. But at the same time, well, this is gonna kind of contradict what I'm gonna say, but what I just said. But in the same time, I'm glad that I pushed through it, and that I wasn't doing anything. I was obsessing and working so much on trying to get better as a photographer, like understand how to grow a community on Instagram, like what this could be, how can I make it feel like it's really my thing and that I feel comfortable, and what do I want to share, and how can I connect with people. So all that I spent so much time on that, I think I don't regret it, and I don't think I maybe would have done that in such a like burning way if I hadn't been in that or hadn't put myself in that situation. So, I mean, it's always like a balance. But it was like the hardest decision, or why I'm calling this video the hardest choice, is because walking away from the dream that I had been working and had been to school for so many years, and like countless hours of gone to dance classes. I had even been, I studied before that in Berlin and in Amsterdam, Amsterdam, and just used all the weekends and evenings, just to train, to get better. And when you kind of finally reach the goal, I couldn't believe that I just pulled the rug under my own feet, and I felt so disappointed in myself, essentially, that there had been earlier signs that maybe dance wasn't the only thing. Like, I always felt like I had to choose dance and kind of sacrifice a lot of the other interests I had at the time, so I couldn't ever pursue them. So maybe there was just a breaking point where I just felt like, no, now I have time, now I want to focus on something else, because like being a dancer and choreography is like the only thing I really know. Like, now I want to know something else and learn something new. So that could be also part of it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you are doing something, or you're kind of feeling stuck a little bit, and you feel that obligation that you should stick with it, well, first of all, I think those decisions, like these big decisions and choices, they take time. But at the same time, I think you should take it very seriously and listen to that, because it's very easy that we also start to live our life based on other people's expectations. And I am 100% sure that my choice and why it took me so long was definitely because I was trying to please everybody else. I thought I've spent so much time on this. My parents have helped me so much, like both emotionally but also financially with this stuff, that I can't disappoint them. But of course, in the end, then what happens was, in a way, I threw all that away. But at the same time, of course, it's not like it's thrown away, because all those years of doing that have taught me a lot of things that I use daily now. Even here, sitting like this, just being sort of kind of having that like performance background, or being on stage, I think there are a lot of things that I can use in my work now, and also like with the visual stuff. So I don't think it's, in that sense, it's not thrown away. But at the same time, I kind of wish that what if I would have started this earlier? Where could I be right now? But again, shoulda, coulda, woulda. Shouldn't go too much into that. But yeah, that was like one of the hardest choices. And lately, maybe some of the hard choices have been to realize that some of the things, or kind of, I thought I figured out my formula, sort of with the YouTube videos and then on Instagram, and I felt like I had this good combination of, creating photos on Instagram, do photography tips on YouTube, and then they kind of complemented each other nicely. And then at some point I started to feel so drained out. And if you watch the video where it's called I'm quitting and moving on, kind of dramatic, but it's really because I felt like that, like I had to quit that, like I need kind of a new beginning, like a fresh start, and I need to have more permission and space to be the person who I'm becoming, and also to have new things that I can bring to this channel without having to think about, oh, what will people think, and this may be not what they came for. And so far, I have to say, like, it's going great and it feels good, even though that was a super, super scary and hard decision, because again, this is my living. This is how I make my money, so that I can keep doing these projects and these ideas that spark my curiosity, and then share them with you. All right, I don't know. I hope you got something out of this video, and if you are interested, I have a free workshop there, which is called the Courageous Heart Workshop, which is about launching your own creative thing. So I'm going to link that in the description below, and it's totally free. It's a 3-part workshop. And then if you're ready for the next step and you want to learn how to, or kind of learn how I built my Instagram community and how I got started with YouTube and videos, which, by the way, like this has been the best for like all the opportunities I've gotten and the growth. I have a masterclass which is called the Self-Taught to Self-Employed Masterclass, and you can enroll right now. I'll also put the link for that one. It is a little bit expensive, I know, for some people, but I've done a payment plan where you can spread it over 6 months. So if it's something that you feel like you're ready to invest in yourself and in your business, and just get some steps, because maybe you're in a place that you're not really sure where to start, or you've been trying for a while but you don't have the motivation and energy, then this class, I can highly recommend it, just based off the feedback I got from the first bunch of students who have taken it. They just said that they got so much more confident and just kind of a clear path on what to do next and how to take that passion and really make it into a business. So yeah, I hope you go and check that page out if that is something that would interest you. Alright, I would be super interested in hearing your thoughts around this subject, like making big life choices, and if you've ever been maybe in a similar situation of kind of realizing like, wait a minute, like now life is going in a direction that I'm actually not sure if this is what I want anymore, and how that made you feel. So let me know in a comment below, and also remember to subscribe and like this video if you found it helpful or some value in it, and come and say hi. I'm over at Kika on Instagram. Alright, I have to get to the airport now, so see you soon. Ciao!